Welcome to another Greg Dennis review, and today we're in an exciting car. It's a Range Rover Evoque. So stick around because I'm going to take you through the inside. We're going to take a walk around the outside, have a look how beautiful it looks, and then at the end we're going to take it for a drive and give it a GDR test. We're going to decide if you should get it, drive it, or just remove it from your list of cars. So stick around. So let's start off this review on the inside of the Range Rover Evoque. Probably the place where you'll spend more time. And as you can see, it is beautiful. There is leather everywhere. Everywhere you look and touch, you can see that there is leather, and it feels great. And if you actually look quite closely, you can see there's little Union Jacks, something that a lot of people will actually notice. From a digital screen point of view, you can see here you've got a digital driver display where you can actually change what you want in the center. The color and the dials changed also depending on what drive mode you're in. And over here, you've got the screen that houses your infotainment and most of the settings within the car, where you're able to access your Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, and everything like that. And down on this screen, which is quite big, you're able to manage most of your driving settings for your car. So most of the terrains and anything like that that you want to be traveling on, this is where you'll access terrain response and terrain response 2, as you can see there, because it's got the auto function. You've also got all of your climate control built into this, and here you can see you've got two options. You can go to your vehicle settings here where you choose your different drive modes as well as your climate control. So if you go to climate control, you can then control everything here, which is quite easy, and they've kept some physical dials, which is great. Not to mention that there is actually a little volume dial here for anyone who wants to use it. It's not buried in the settings somewhere, which is great. From a storage point of view, you've got heaps of space in each of the door bins on the side here. You've got a decently sized cubby. You've got space here for 2 drinks, and it does come with a cover if you want to. You've got the split armrest for you and your passengers to access, which is quite large, with all your USBs in that there. So you've got the normal USB and USB-C. And down here you can see there's even more space, so you can see my keys and other stuff down there. So that's quite cool. There's also a wireless charging pad, but it's nice to hide some things here from the public. And then on the steering wheel, and here you can see that these displays actually change. How cool is that? And then I can't not mention this panoramic roof that runs the full length of the top of the car, and it opens. Okay, now let's look at the exterior, and this is where the Evoque really shines. Excuse the pun. And as you can see, you've got this iconic rising shoulder line and tapering roof line, which is what makes the Evoque stand out. And now onto the bling. These are the 20-inch diamond cut wheels that come standard with this Evoque. You can see it's got the R dynamic pack, so that's all of the bronze finishes and these wheels that you can see. It's unmistakably a Range Rover, and you can see it carries all the same design cues from its bigger brother and sister. Then moving on to the back, you can see the design cues continue with those tail lights. And now I thought I'd just show off the power tailgate. Super convenient. And that's the Evoque from the outside, and it looks damn good. Alrighty, let's take this Range Rover Evoque for a drive. And what is powering this Evoque is a 2-litre 4-cylinder turbo diesel that puts out 146 kilowatts and 430 newton meters of torque. And it's strange because it feels like it's a lot more quicker and powerful than that. Maybe it's just the way that the engine and the gearbox delivers the power, but I'm not complaining. And speaking of the gearbox, you've got a 9-speed auto here. 9-speed, 9 gears to choose from. And this car does it really well. It knows exactly what gear to put you in at any time. It might be a little bit sluggish off the line in first, but I think that just comes down to how much boost it's able to generate off the line. But it's very minor. If I had to be nitpicky, that's what I would say. I have been testing the Evoque on some off-road and some dirt tracks and things like that, just to kind of put it to the test, because it's a Land Rover. It's been built to do that, so you know it would be rude not to. And making the off-road driving a lot more easier is Land Rover's bespoke system called Terrain Response. And this system pretty much does the off-road driving for you, if I can say that. But it's all down here. It's all in the touchscreen. You select what terrain you're on, whether you're on gravel roads, whether you're going through mud, whether you're going through water, whether it's sand or anything like that. There's the various modes to select from, and the car kind of sets itself up and it does everything for you. So it attends to the traction, It attends to the dampers on the suspension, the throttle response and all of that. It's even got a really cool low traction launch, which I find quite handy. So if you are in some weird situation, if you're in some water or snow or any sort of gravel where that is quite loose, the car will set itself up so that it is putting the most torque down but slowly. So it's getting this heavy weight out of the sand to allow you to get out of whatever situation you're in. It's really smart. And speaking of bespoke systems, Land Rover also has something called adaptive dynamics, which is quite cool. It's almost like a brain inside the car that allows it to constantly be checking and monitoring the road up to about 500 times a second. And while it's doing that, it's adjusting the dampers, it's adjusting all of the software and computers within the car to allow you to stay as straight and stable and secure and safe at any time. So it'll know the angle of the roads, it'll know what surface you're on, it'll know how fast you're going, is there a corner coming, what speed are you going into that corner. It'll keep the car from, from waving around or, from lifting because you're going too far left or too far right. So it'll keep the car as stable as possible. These Land Rovers are really clever. And it goes without saying that the actual ride quality is superb. It's everything that you'd expect from a Range Rover. So you've got this buttery smooth transmission, you've got these absolutely comfortable seats, you've got a ride quality that's merely unmatched within this type of segment. So it's the best of all worlds. And what's great about the setup of the actual interior here while you're driving is that everything is reachable. Everything you can touch from where you are, it's laid out. Yes, everything might be through a touchscreen, but the parts of the touchscreen that you're supposed to be touching and navigating through are quite big. So the buttons that are selectable and all that sort of thing, you aren't fiddling around to try and find them. And that's definitely something that they've carried through as a brand within their cars. So they always used to have these big buttons and things that you're supposed to be able to access and touch quite easily, because the people that use the cars are mostly overseas and in the cold, so they're wearing gloves. So if you're wearing gloves, it means that your fingers are bigger, which means you need to have bigger buttons to push. So I can see that like little touches like that have been carried through, which is quite cool. And I mentioned that Land Rover has that bespoke system called terrain response, which is easily accessed down here for when you're going off-roading. But what's cool is that terrain response system has been improved, and what's here is actually terrain response 2. So you can put it into automatic mode where the car will actually decide and select what surface you're on, and it'll actually adjust itself accordingly, where you don't actually have to go down and select what surface you're on. It does it all by itself without you needing to lift a finger. Okay, and now for the important part of this review, the GDR scale. Should you get it, should you drive it, or should you remove it from your list of cars to buy? And this is a tough one, because I would say you should just go ahead and get it. It's a Range Rover Evoque. There aren't a lot of things out there that can match it in terms of its styling, its quality, how premium it feels. It's a Range Rover. It carries all of the Land Rover heritage, the capabilities and everything like that. But it's really expensive. This Evoque, with all of its added optional extras and everything, comes in at about 1.2 million. And there's a lot else that you can get in the market for that price. So if you have the money, then yes, go ahead and get it. But with it being that expensive, I would say go ahead and drive it. See if this is what you want to spend your money on. See if this is everything that you need. It probably will be, but I'm going to put it out there. So today, for the first time, I'm saying get it, but also drive it. I hope that helps. Thank you for watching another Greg Dennis review. I hope this was helpful. I hope it helped you along your car buying journey. And if it didn't, I hope you just got enough information, or if you were just intrigued at knowing more about the car. If you'd like to see more content like this, then please consider subscribing and let me know if there's anything else you want to know or see on my channel down in the comments. Thank you.